So, good morning, everyone. Good morning. For avoidance of doubt, if this were an interview, that's not going to be enough, because after you say, after you've given your updates, you're supposed to elaborate on it and talk to whatever update you've given. So if not, it's not bad. I learned you guys just started yesterday. So that's we're giving you a degree of freedom. But going forward, any updates you're going to give, and this should be across the class, have more details, have the body of the updates, be very comfortable with it, be able to speak about it at any point in time. So before we start the class, I'm going to say a couple of things. So I'm an alumnus. I've been where you are seated today. I've been there, I've done that. So I know. I'm telling you this thing for a fact. I know. In this class, there are different caliber of people. Some people are just here to faff. Some people are here to learn. Some people are here to say, maybe, let me check, is this investment banking thing they are talking about, is it for me? And some people are here that truly, truly want it and probably have the dream of going to BAMU or Goldman Sachs. People are here today, and you need to know something for a fact here. Like was said to me when I was young, 20 children will not run together for 20 years. If I give you my honest feedback, I'm not impressed with the class. I get it, you guys have tried a lot, you've put in a lot of effort, it's not easy coming here weekends, and then doing all your school stuff. You're probably in final year or third year or year 2 or year 1. You have projects, assignments, tests, and examinations. I understand. But you need to get one thing straight. The refinery is building you for outside of these 4 walls of the university. So what are you in school for? The major reason why most people are in school is to learn, get a degree, so that when they get out there, they can get good jobs. The refinery is giving you a cheat code. It's giving you a cheat sequence. It's helping you. It's giving you some details, information you're not going to get from the 4 walls of the university. I studied at the University of Lagos, and I can tell you that the most impactful part of my stay in school was when I did Talent Mine. And you people need to understand something for a fact, that if you are here and you want to go to BAMU, you need to want it. It's not a case of saying I'm just here and I'm going to try. It's not a matter of try. It's going to be a matter of we will die there. It's going to be a matter of I'm going to get it at all costs. It's going to be a matter of I am going to get it at all costs. So I get it again that you people are busy. You are very busy. You have a lot of things that you are doing. But I'm begging you for your sake. Because some people do not understand the levity. Some people do not understand the weight. If you give me a choice to go to class or come to Talent Mine, when I was in school, I'd have come to Talent Mine. I'll say this for free. In my final year, I was president of my department. And then, by the time I got to second semester, a couple of my colleagues they had gone to get jobs. But because I was president, I was carrying NESA on my head, NESA. People were applying for jobs I did not apply. People were getting jobs I did not get. It dawned on me in second semester that, bro, what next after school? So all your hype and profile, you're going to finish school and then are you going to go home and sit down? So that was when it occurred to me that I should put in my best for Talent Mine. I'm telling you this because in my class, I can't remember how many were in my class, we were like 20, maybe 20. I know it was not up to this class, but we know like the way it is here. Some people are just here, they won't follow. So I know when we're doing financial modeling, from the get-go, some people were not interested. So it's like speaking to market updates. These things are things that you should go back and learn and then come here and spit. You should spit fire. So market update is not for mouth. By the time I was doing my interviews, that in 2015, when I did Talent Mine, the trending update was the Greek defaults on their loans. So I had learned that thing back and front end to back end. And by the time I was doing my interviews, woe betides you, an interviewer, you ask me for market update, I'll kill you. We're not saying this for you to come and punish you or come and do. It's for your own benefit, because at some point you learn it and it becomes a part of you. So we did interviews last week. Those interviews were for your benefit. They were not to witch hunt anybody. They were not to call anybody out. They were not to shoot anybody down. But it was to gauge the level of understanding. It was to gauge where you are and understand where you are supposed to get to. Honest feedback. So I interviewed some people. I'll tell you for a fact, I'm not going to mince words. Nobody was spectacular amongst people that I interviewed. I'm not saying people did not do well. Everybody tried, people did well. Some people were very, very good. Some people were actually outstanding to an extent. But there was nobody that blew my mind away. You need, see, as YJ come to this class, you've seen YJ. YJ did Refinery. Oh. Do you understand? I don't know if you understand. YJ sat down in a class like this and he did Refinery. YJ did not sit down. But when YJ was doing, it was before my set. When he was doing Refinery, he could teach his class comfortably. It's not a case of I'm sitting down here and I'm learning. You need to understand. So for the interviews, we noticed that some people, you had some flaws, some people had some good parts, all well and good. But I implore you for your own benefit, for your own interest, that this is a spectacular opportunity you have. In my class, we were 20. Only 2 of us made it to BAMU, my set. I got investment banking, and Sheon got GTS. Sheon is working in the UK today. I'm telling you this thing for free. The money is earning. If you like, come and work in Nigeria for donkey years. You just be working, you be monkey, they work, baboon, they chop. Pardon my French. But you need to understand that this thing you have, this opportunity you have, is life-changing. It's life-changing. Get it, grab it, get it now. You're not going to have it again. You are not going to have it again. You need to sit up, you need to buckle up, because don't expect to be spoon-fed. So when I was doing my interviews, I had done Talent Mine. Talent Mine had taught me. But I can say this, I'm on record, I can say this here, I can tell anybody that the part or the things that Talent Mine taught me that helped me for my interview, they were like maybe 30 or 40%. The majority of what I did was to consolidate on what I had learned in class and go out there, build on it, and learn. Because classroom is 6 weeks. You're going to come here for on Saturday and Sunday for 6 weeks, and they will tell you, they will give you back to back, plenty information. How much are you going to assimilate if truth will be told? You need to go away from this class and go and develop on what you are taught. You need to go and learn some more, because it's not going to be enough, I tell you. So we deal accounting, we deal finance, we deal financial. Those things are things that people learn for 4 years, and then you want to come and learn it in 6 weeks. Talent Mine is giving you an opportunity. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. I know you are busy. I'll say this thing again. So in my final year, I was doing plenty of things. I thought I was going to die. My friend and I think I told somebody in this class that we used to tell each other that, because he also did Talent Mine with me. And you need to know the people you are rolling with. Roll with the people in the right circles. If you are rolling with like-minded people. So when I was doing my interviews, I was not feeling fine. But my friend Jaga, God bless him, I just wish I could call him to speak to you. We were in the same hostel, we were in Jaja. It was that morning, the morning of my Talent Mine interview, not my BAMU interview. I spoke to him that, Jaga, how are you going to help me? And he gave me market updates that I used. Understand this thing, because I had a friend that we were really in the right circles, in the same circles. We had similar goals. He's a trader now, he's a mad trader. We had similar goals. He was able to help me when I was in a space of deficit. So he gave me the update about, that was my initial information about the Greek default on their loans to EU. And that was, so YJ interviewed me for my own Talent Mine interview. He interviewed me, and then at some point, so I know I spoke about this thing to some people. You need to connect with your interviewer. So I connected with him, luckily or unluckily. I think he studied economics too at some point. I'm like, I also studied economics. So we now moved away from our interview to economic lingo and started discussing Keynesian and monetary and plenty whatnot. But my point is that market update my friend told me that morning, I was able to use it and elaborate, and he helped me. Market update is not a joke. You need to understand it's not a joke. So I'm going to move on now. Accounting. We were not able to finish last week, but irrespective, we did, not last week, the last time we came here, we did a couple of things, and you should be able to build on that. We are going to do some more of that today. But for the umpteenth time, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Tochi is working in the UK today. You are not going to understand. You will not understand this thing. Do 3 months internship and watch your life change forever. You are going to be different. So in my class, in my 3rd year. So I told you I applied to Talent Mine, and I told you I didn't get it right. I told you that story when I said one rubbish for Femi. So I did not understand, like a lot of you, I did not understand the levity. So I did Talent Mine, I did not get it. I'm like, I'm studying my books. I'll still pass. I'll get first class. I don't need talent mine. And then there in my class, in my third year, my coursemate, Sheyi, God bless Sheyi. Sheyi finished the 2-1 from Economics Department, University of Lagos. She got the internship at BAMU to do, she did talent mine. So the talent mine, I did not get into that. I felt my shoulders were too raised that, okay, I'm a superstar. I therefore did not need to get into talent mine. Some people understood the importance. She studied and she got into talent mine when we were in year 3. And then she went for the internship and she came back. We're in the same class, so she's my friend. She came back and she was thinking differently. Like, she was on another plane. And for me, I like to observe, I like to learn. So when I saw, like when she came back, I saw her courage, her composure, her poise, the way she was comporting herself, the way she was thinking was different. I'm from Delta State, they say, well, you know, they carry last. I took one step closer like this, that she yafa now, how's the way, what's the way, what's the need for your boy? So she spoke to me. Apparently, if you check in my class, maybe if you check hierarchy, I was one of the star boys in my class because I was trending. But when I realized that Sheyi already knew the path, I followed that path and Sheyi was able to put me through. And then the next time I was going to apply for talent, I applied, I got in and I got the internship, and it changed my life forever. This is an opportunity you do not want to miss. That's my advice for you. You can do this. It's not so difficult. You can get it done. People do it every year. People will always get the internship every year. Let me give you some statistics you're not understanding. The BAMU internship for Africans, they probably give 20 Africans. 20 Africans. You do not understand this thing I'm telling you. You give 20 Africans, 20 people from all the countries in Africa, 20 students the opportunity. You are not going to remain the same. You are going to be set on a pedestal. 20. Imagine you are one of the 20. I don't know. I'm not saying it's always 20, but it's going to be around that range. 20. And then you go there and you speak and you tell them that you are not representing your department. You are not representing University of Lagos. You are not representing Nigeria. You are representing Africa. You are not going to you are not going to remain the same. This opportunity is for you to seize it. It's for you to seize it. I repeat it. It's for you to seize it. Don't say I did not tell you. I sincerely pray and hope that the people that are interested will get it. And then even if you don't get it, it's not a big deal. Life moves on. You do some other things. And I don't want to come and preach here because, truth be told, not everybody is going to go to BAMU or Goldman Sachs. My point is not that you need to go to Goldman Sachs or BAMU to be great. No. I'm saying if you go to Goldman Sachs or BAMU, you have an edge. But even if you do not go to Goldman Sachs or BAMU for the internship, some people did talent mine did not go to Goldman Sachs or BAMU, and they are well. You know, Wahab has come to this class. You've seen Wahab. Wahab, Starboy, is well placed. A couple of people, they are great people. So it's not so much about the output sometimes, but the process. When you go through the process and you put in all your best, you are not going to remain the same. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, please? I'm your friend. I'm your friend. Forget that I was fitting it. I'm your guy. But how far was shaku now? You still not taught me the moves though. Or you don't want to shaku again? I'm your friend. Any update? Any response? If you have anything you want to share, now is the time to talk about it. Yes, please. Yes, what's your name, please? If you want to speak, just tell us your name. Matthew, pleasure meeting you, sir.
The thing is that I was thinking, in terms of this market focus,
Yes.
when you are reading it, there are a lot of information.
Okay. Okay.
And technical terms also in terms of the market. And let me just say myself, I can't just understand all the technical terms. So is there a way that we can be assisted? For example, someone was asking what's the meaning of negative points, as simple as that. So is there a way that we can be assisted in putting us through this market also, so that we can know the information we can focus on and some basic technicalities that we cannot do?
So what did you study, boss?
Business and
Bizarre, okay. So the thing you need to understand from market update and the technicalities involved is that Rome was not built in a day. So there's nobody that is going to wake up today and do and maybe read one update and understand. You're going to be lost, you're going to be blank. Again, this speaks to working in the right circles. If you are working with people of like minds, the part you do not know, they are going to know. So you need to surround yourself with a circle of people that are hungry like you and thirsty like you for the same kind of information. But apart from that, a good thing. So when I was during my time, my friend Jaga, again I'm telling you about my friend Jaga. I learned this one from him. So I was in school and I was from year 1 to year 3. I was the study and play actually. But my focus was not work yet. I felt like it was a necessary condition and sufficient condition thing. I'm speaking like an economist now. I felt like study first, then worry about jobs later. But Jaga helped me understand that you need your job now. So one thing he advised me to do was subscribe to Investopedia. There's one thing they do where they send you term of the day. It's superb. It's superb. I still receive it till today. And then now that I know, so that time, whenever they send me like a new, let me tell you the truth, because I was very busy. I didn't always look at that thing. That's why I subscribed and they're sending me time of the day every day. Meanwhile, my supervisor is pursuing me to come and submit my project. I didn't always look at that thing. But it's a very good thing for you. It's good. Like it's going to help you go a long way. And then if there's anything you don't understand, the best thing for you to do is Google. So there's no term that Google will not explain for you. Just Google it. It's very easy. But subscribe to Investopedia term of the day and Google any other thing you do not know, and you are going to be good to go. Is that clear? Any other question? Please ask now. I'm your friend. Tega is your friend. Every year, some people that go to Bamul are my guys. It's a thing of joy and pride to me that I touch some people's lives and they always go to Bamul, and I feel happy for them. So talk to me. I'm your friend. I can help you in any way. The people that have my number in this class, you know that whenever they talk to me, like whenever they ask me for questions, I always answer. So like I try to answer whenever I have space. But don't laugh now. It's not easy. This was not a classroom something. So no questions. We're moving on. See, but you people know that talent man is observing here. These people they're not just sitting down for sitting down sake. They're observing you. So when you're in class, know what you're doing. When they say mark, so you shouldn't wait for that. That wheel of what? What's it called? That wheel it does. Wheel of life. Wheel of life. We did it. We did it in my time too. You shouldn't wait for wheel of life to pick up your names. When it's time for market updates, volunteer that I want to do market updates. It's a thing of you improve over time when you keep doing it. And some people in this class, they are in all C's, which I heard has changed to T's. T's. If you've turned it to one post something, T's. See the as T's. So I learn, like I know you guys do market updates now. Yeah, so it's good, and you'd agree with me that you get better over time. It's not something of one day. So the earlier you start, the better for you. The things you learn, I said this thing before, but let me emphasize. The things you learn in class, they are not going to be enough. Please, for your own good. Before I go, I'm going to tell you one question. So I applied for Goldman Sachs and I applied for BAMU. I did not get Goldman Sachs and I got BAMU. And the reason I did not get Goldman Sachs was one question. I remember the question and I asked one or two people during my interview. So anybody that I felt like maybe you can have small, like maybe your level is elevated, I can ask you the question to see to gauge where you are. Because that interview we did for you was still on a control level. We've not got in there. I'm serious. When you go, so I know the people I interviewed, I was smiling. And some people say I asked too many questions during the interview, but I was smiling with you, I was playing with you. I tried to make you feel at home. But there are some interviewers you go to and then they are cold. Like you are talking and they are giving you the straight face. If you even know stuff in your head, they'll fly away. Because you are thinking like, do I even know what I'm saying? So remind me before I go, I'll tell you one question I was asked. that shot me away. We'll speak about it. So 3 financial statements. We are going to do quick recap. Who is going to help us? Income statement. I expected everybody to do like this. So I've just been talking. I'm talking for myself. It's okay. Income statement. Let's start there. Who is going to help us? It's not difficult now. You should not come and draw me today, please. Today is Sunday. I'm going to watch World Cup. Please. Let's do this. I'll start calling names. So please, wait for us. You don't want to answer. And you know they are watching. So the people that show the vim and the vigor and the drive and the interest, you are better off. Olumide, stand up wherever you are. Put up your hand and close your eyes. You are a boss now, I remember you. Income statement.
Financial performance of the country over a period of time, usually 1 year. So by format, it really starts with the revenue or turnover of the habit. Then we have items such as cost of goods sold, subtracted from the revenue, get gross profit. Then after that,
Boss, just stop right there. I'm clapping for you. Please nominate somebody to continue. And you are already stellar. I don't want you to finish all the goodies. Don't will nominate somebody. So we carry on. Where did you stop? Where did you stop, please? I think you spoke about COGS now. Gross profit. Carry on, sir.
okay, like you said,
Don't go back. Just continue from there. We don't have time. Just continue, please.
okay, from the gross profits, we have to, we make provision for, from the gross profits, we make provision for operating expense.
Okay.
And we arrive at earnings before interest and
Tax.
and afterwards we make provision for interest and tax to arrive at our net profits. That's on the income statement. And for, should I proceed to the other?
Oh no. Let's will. Will of life, I'll be told you. Oh sorry, pause. Let's ask before we go there. Income statement is prepared on what basis? Cash flow or accrual basis? People are flowing now. Don't forget in your interviews. So who did you? Balance sheet, just freestyle. Okay, nominate somebody that will just run us through very fast. No, you've done well, but nominate someone that will tell us the order and maybe once you mention 1 or 2 elements on the balance sheet. Yes, exactly. I interviewed you now, you're a boss, so show yourself. So all the people I interviewed were bosses, all of them, they were bosses. If you see them, respect them. Feel like fool. You guys are the chairman. What's your name, sir? Samuel, pleasure. Don't go back, leave our own, say your own. People
the asset is the formula they usually use asset plus liability plus the equity, and the equity is the like the
just
put back,
okay.
investors put back into the company as the dividend they put back as or they put back into the company to do other sectors of the company like the growth. And and the liabilities are the money their debt, the finances are their debts, and the assets and the money they get from the sales of their goods, and the money they get from other investment they gotten, and the cash they get.
That's okay. Nominate.
Okay.
Both, please. Yes. So is there a marker? Right, I see a chairman. I just wanted to help us to write all these statements. The way they in order. Come, please. Nominate. Marker, please. Oh, I see. It's there. It's there. Yes, all of them. I'm doing all of them. Anywhere you're stuck, we'll do it. Please, will for us. Will for us. This one is going to be the juicy one. Cash flow statement. We'll make space so that all of them are together. Like I want all of them on this page so that when I talk, I'll be able to. Do you understand? You can do.
If you don't think on time.
Balance sheet, then leave space for cash flow at the bottom. Again? This is the second one. No, this one has spoken now. Don't deny your birthright. Thank you very much, bro. Nominate. Nominate somebody. That babe you like in this class, let us know. Don't nominate a guy. Oh. Oliver Twist. How many people do you like? You have explicit taste. Leave his own. Just give us the operating. Okay, thank you. Any questions so far? So, okay, basic ones. Okay. Any question? So one question typically that is asked in interviews is relationship between these financial statements, and you should be familiar with them. You should have them at the back of your head because you almost always will not be able to escape these questions. I was asked and you'll probably be asked too. So the three statements, I was hoping that Samuel will be able to, like I was trying to wait for him to run through so that we can speak with them on the board. So in the interim, we can be gisting. Any other gist you have for me? Any question? Any observation? Any addition? Market update. You would not know market update. If they ask you who win Ballon d'Or now, all of you say Modric, Messi, Ronaldo, Pogba. Eh? Oh, you will not say Pogba, sorry. Griezmann, okay. Messi will not win. Hazard. But what happened now? Football did not come home again. All of you that were believing, football is coming home. Football is coming home. Football went home. I did not go home. No. They carry themselves to Heathrow Airport. They carry themselves without football. So I'll just be talking. No, let's do this one. This one will probably build up to that one. Okay, let me just say it all the same. So one question I was asked is, if you have to, and I asked some people this question. So most of the questions I asked were basic level questions, and then for some people I escalated the. Again, let me say this thing. Most of the people I interviewed were okay, but you will probably not pass a Goldman Sachs or a Bamboo interview with the level you are at the moment. I'm not saying this to make you shake, but to let you know that you can improve on yourself. So even me, I did not know it when I was doing my own interview for Goldman. I'd learned it for Bamboo. So they said if you have two companies, one with a P ratio of 10, one with a P ratio of 20, and you're an investor, which one would you prefer? Which one would you advise me to invest in? Please, I can hear a lot of murmuring, so you people should share. Let's hear you. I heard you murmur, so let's hear you.
Well, you could speak anyone, just depends on the one you can depend on. So that company has a higher fee ratio doesn't necessarily mean that it is more expensive. You also look at other factors like probably its history, how big of a name it is, how well established it is, how much profit you see to make going forward, how stable you think it's going to remain, and just generally the prospects of investing in a company like that.
Thank you. So you people were murmuring. Let's hear you. Yes, please.
Well, I think P ratio basically shows how much you have to pay for a dollar return. And there's a high possibility that a company with low P ratio is undervalued.
Okay.
So we are valuing very well. You want to invest in a company that has a low P ratio.
Okay. What's your name, sir? What do you study, sir? Are you doing ICANN? Did you do ICANN?
No.
ACCA? CFA? FRM? Who taught you that thing you do just now?
I read it.
Aha! That's the kind of people we are looking for. Which school are you attending, sir? Ife, the great Ife. I like people from Ife. They don't sleep on the bicycle. So P ratio, you both said, you both spoken well. Like he said, it will show you the amount you need to pay for $1 or £1 of earnings of the company. So P ratio is usually price per share divided by earnings per share. So that's where the P is. So I was hoping that we'll do this one first, because earnings per share would come from profit after tax. So your profit after tax divided by the number of shares outstanding will give you your earnings per share. This you can then use to calculate your P ratio. So if you do not understand the earnings per share, you are not going to be able to understand the P ratio. Are we following so far? So we all know this profit after tax, yeah? That's the bottom line of the income statement. For a public company, let's use a public company. the number of shares outstanding, all of the investors, all of the equity holders of the company, they have a portion of this net income. Are we together? So the earnings per share, intuitive earnings per share. So depending on the number of shares you own in the company, on a pro rata basis, they'll calculate your own part of the profit. Is that clear? People are no longer... Okay, so that's for EPS, simple. Share price is even simpler. Everybody knows share price. Please wait for somebody to tell us a correct share price on the Nigerian NSC today, as at Friday. If we are not here to sleep, we are not here to joke. We are not here to be joking on a bicycle. Elijah. God must send down fire. Yeah, Elijah.
Oh, no.
Sorry? Are you trying to check it? I'm not understanding. Is that the fire? You cannot bomb you. You want to help? Okay.
Okay, I think on the NSC,
Yeah.
the top winner for Friday, which was Sovereign Insurance, was currently trading at 26 per share.
Why do you not give market updates? So you know all of this one, you were forming humble. I've told you it's not a humility something in this class. We'll be proud. So he said
The top winner as of Friday, Sovereign Insurance, was trading at 23 per share.
23 kobo per share. Simple. That's the price per share. So if you want to buy one share of which company is that?
Sovereign Insurance.
Sovereign Insurance, you pay 23 kobo per share. So EPS, I wanted to write, but it's no space. EPS, earnings per share, price per share. That share price, 23 kobo per share, you keep it at the numerator. Then the earnings per share, you put it as the denominator. So you now calculate. So let me just do this, please. PE multiple is equal to price per share. My writing is tiny and terrible, I know. Let me use that one, please. Divided by EPS. Okay. So now, if you want to answer that question on a proper level, for investors, typically there are two types of investors. There are value investors and there are growth investors. I'll repeat, there are value investors and there are growth investors. So this P would help you determine which of the two you fall under. So, what's your name again, please? Taiwo. Oh, you're the one that sat in front that day that was helping me. I remember the professor on my side. So, he has spoken well. He spoke about the value part of it. So, a value investor typically looks at the market and tries to watch out for undervalued stocks. And because he believes that the market is not aware of the proper or true value of the stock, it is therefore trading at a lower price. Are we together? Bro, can you just pause, please? Let me just explain this one. So you know this, sorry. So you have, this is P. So you have company A, PE is equal to 10, company B, PE is equal to 20. So for company A, P is equal to 10, it means that you need to pay $10 to get $1 of returns on that share. For company B, P is 20, means that you need to pay $20 to get $1 of returns on that share. Is that simple so far? So a value investor will look at these two and say, company A, I'll pay 10 to get $1. Company B, I'll pay 20 to get $1. If you now imagine that for the two of them, their EPS is the same thing. Like they have similar EPS, but one of them has a lower P ratio. The value investor would believe that because for this company, the price, the market price is lower than what it should be, is going to invest in company A. That's not clear yet. So for these two, maybe to get this 10, you know it's price per share divided by earnings per share. Let's say the price per share is 10 over 1, the price per share is 20 over 1. Is this clear? So this, the value investor would say that for company A, because it needs to pay just 10, that means the price per share, the share price of that company is 10, But he has done his analysis and he thinks that the PE relative to the market or relative to the competitors should be higher than 10. Therefore, he thinks that company A is a better fit for his investment profile than company B. Because imagine that the two of them are in the same sector, in the same industry, they are competitors, and then he's trying to determine which of them to invest in amongst A and B. One of them has a P ratio of 10, one of them has a P ratio of 20. He now understands that for company A, the price on the market is $10. For company B, the price on the market is $20. Because he's a value investor, he thinks that company A is undervalued because intricately, price of a share is an indicator of the value. I don't know if they've mentioned it. You are not saying yes with confidence. So that price is an indicator of the value. Because this one now has a lower value than others in the industry, like the average, he thinks that, okay, this company is undervalued. He would therefore decide that he wants to invest in company A. Is that clear? That's for a value investor. For a growth investor, the reverse is the case. A growth investor would think that there's a reason, like people are not mad. There's a reason why people are buying company B for $20 in the market when there's an option to buy company A that they are doing similar things. Are we together? So a growth investor would believe that people are already purchasing company B because they believe that company B has the capacity or has potential for massive growth in the future. Therefore, people are willing to pay extra money now to buy company B shares. Are we together? So there are two ways to look at it, and either of them is fine. But when you're answering, you don't just mumble and jumble. Two of them, they tie in together, and whichever way you are going to go, be ready to defend. And so for avoidance of doubt, be ready to tell the interviewer the two of them and spit fire. Thank you. Is that clear? Ask your questions now, if you have any. Sorry? Oh no, I flopped now. I do not know it. If I don't know something, I'll be giving you bobo. Some people try to bobo me in that interview, I'll just shake my head. You want to come and give me lamba? I'm the master. So I said one rubbish that day, I just drove them, but I did not get it. Yes, please. Okay, so a growth investor, he believes that between the two companies, maybe one of them has a P ratio of 20 as opposed to P ratio of 10. And then from that simple example, the one that has P ratio of 20, meaning that the share price today is 20 compared to the other company whose share price is 10. So because it thinks that people, so there's one efficient market hypothesis that believes that investors are totally aware of everything, of all the information they need to get about the market. So it thinks that investors have already considered company B, and then they think that, okay, based on companies B's historicals, the historical share price, the historical financial information, we think that company B is projected to grow at a faster or greater rate than company A. So because of that future growth, you now think that is better. So that's the reason why people are already paying more for company B today. And because you are a growth investor, you are looking to buy stocks that are going to grow, you therefore prefer to buy stocks of company B that have a higher PE ratio, and that's the rationale for it. For the value investor, you think that company A is undervalued. You therefore buy company A whose share price is at 10, is lower than what it should be. You buy it today because you believe that it's undervalued, and at some point the market would recognize its actual value and the price would therefore increase. Then you can sell, and that's how it makes sense. Is it clear? Any other question? Yes, please.
I want to ask, when you look at your company's financial statement,
Yes, please.
you find basic outstanding shares and also find the diluted shares.
Okay.
I sometimes I think that you should pay more attention to the diluted shares than the basic shares.
Okay, so when you are trying, so this is peculiar when you want to calculate your EPS, or basic EPS, or your diluted EPS. So there are some part of the balance sheets that are dilutive, that can be dilutive or anti-dilutive. So if you want to calculate your EPS, have an issue, is net income divided by number of shares outstanding. Are we together? Now we are saying that for diluted EPS, we want to know, because on the balance sheet, there are some part of the some part of your capital can be converted into maybe equity. Maybe you have debt that can be convertible debt that can be converted to equity. Are we together? Or you say you have a warrant or you have an option. So all of these are there are elements of the balance sheet that could be dilutive or anti-dilutive. So the essence of the word dilutive is that your EPS, if you've calculated your EPS to be 10, there are some things on the balance sheet that you can add or subtract, or you can tweak the EPS calculation that would give you another EPS that would be less, that would be lower, that would be dilutive. That's the word, dilutive. So the essence of that calculation of diluted EPS is that you're now saying, let's do some scenario analysis. In the worst case scenario that maybe the options we have or the warrants we have, they are called, and then we therefore need to convert, say, our debt, convertible debt to equity. There's a need to now calculate that in the case of, because this thing happens, you need to calculate that in the case of, say, when something happens, and then the people that hold this convertible debt decide that they want to convert it to equity. What's the effect going to be on your EPS? What's the effect going to be to investors? So that's the rationale behind calculating of the dilutive EPS. And now when you are calculating diluted EPS could be for, I think, for pref shares, for stocks, for warrants, for convertible debts, and I think one other, I can't really remember. But the point is, when you are trying to calculate it, your EPS, your diluted EPS can never be greater than the basic EPS. So you need to watch out for it. So if you know, we're not discussing it yet because, like the other class, there were a lot of questions that we discussed and went out of scope. So we are going to limit it to what we need to know. So for the purpose, when you are calculating it, there are some times where for all those dilutions, if you calculate, they can give you a higher EPS. In that case, they are called anti-dilutive. So if you ever calculate and then you get an EPS figure that is greater than your basic EPS, there is an anti-dilutive, that element is anti-dilutive, and you therefore disregard it and refer to your diluted EPS as still your basic EPS, because there's no way your EPS would go. There's no way you are going to allow your EPS to improve or increase greater than the basic EPS. Do you follow? The essence is to find out that in the worst case scenario, how can the EPS, what's the level is going to fall to? Any questions? Please.
Okay, you said that a value investor will invest at the rapidly, hoping to sell off when the share price increases. So what is in it for a growth investor? Don't you think that they don't make as much money as a value investor? Or is it just that they have more security, investing in the company?
So for trading, there's no one size fits all. There are different kind of traders with different kind of ideas and different methodologies. So if two of you are trading, it's a value investor, you are a growth investor, your metrics you are using are different. What you are going to get will be different from what is going to get. So what's in it for, thank you very much, boss. What's in it for a growth investor? That's your question here.
Yeah, like I want to make, they don't make as much.
No. Understand this. So there are some, okay, let me just explain. Again, for a growth investor, you are willing, see, this thing is simple, it's easy, get it now. For a value investor, you think the stock is undervalued, you therefore buy at the lower price, hoping that it's going to go up when the market realizes its true value. Then you can exit your position and make gains. Is that clear? Yes. For a growth investor, you believe that this stock is going to grow in the future. You believe that the potential for growth is greater than any other stock. You're therefore willing to pay a higher price for that stock today. If it grows, inevitably, if a company grows, revenue would grow, all of this would grow, net income would grow. When net income grows, your EPS would grow. You are an investor, your EPS, your earnings per share is also going to increase. So that can be something that would give you incentive. So I'm not saying for a fact, I'm not saying rigidly that all growth investors only want to get the extra growth from EPS. But when the company grows, any company that grows, your value, the share price will also increase. So inevitably, they will still be getting higher earnings per share and be getting higher, like the share price will increase. They can also sell at a higher price at the future date. So it's just the only thing is that there are different ways of getting a profit on the market. Is that clear? Any question? Yes, please. Okay, you first. You raise your hand first.
Sorry, can we say a value investor will potentially put that kind of stock for a longer period of time?
So it's not, there's no rigid answer to that. So people have different investment horizons, different investment periods. But I would even think that if any investor, if amongst the two, I would think that a growth investor will probably have a longer investment period. I'm saying again that it's not rigid. I'm not saying that all growth investors hold their portfolios for a longer time than value investors. But I'm saying that if I were to choose like which of these two would hold portfolios for a longer time, I would probably say growth investors, because growth does not happen immediately. You can need to wait for 2 or 3 years for it to eventually grow. I think there was one time, which company was it? Apple. I was not paying dividends. I had hefty the company kept growing and growing and growing, and then as it was growing, the value would be increasing. So I should think that if any of them would have a longer term to maturity, or a longer tenure investment horizon, it should be growth. But again, I'm saying that it is not rigid. It is not rigid. A value investor can think that, so if something is undervalued, it can take a long while before it becomes properly valued. So I'll say this, that there's no one size fits all answer to that. It depends on the peculiarities of the investment.
Comparison between A and B.
Yes.
This time work in industry when you're comparing companies.
I don't understand your question, please.
Give us P for 10.
Yes,
for 10.
yes.
If I'm a value investor,
Yes.
if I'm going to decide on choosing 10,
Yes.
I'm going to be looking at the industry, right?
Oh no, so you are going to be looking at two things. You'll be looking at the company's financials. So if it is undervalued, it means that you've gone through the financials and you've seen that, okay, let me do this here. PE, right, is price per share divided by earnings per share. Price per share divided by earnings per share. Are we together? That's the P ratio. Let me just write it out. Price per share divided by earnings per share. This thing can break it down to say it is PE, meaning that it is the price, market price, which is equivalent to the value. Are we together? We already agreed that the price shows the value of the stock divided by outstanding shares outstanding, number of shares outstanding, all over the earnings, your net income. If there's pref dividends, you can less it, but let's not go there. Net income divided by shares outstanding, number of shares outstanding. Are we together? So if you are a value investor, that was your question now. What was that question again? Repeat it, please. Yeah. Okay, so it works for the firm and then across the industry. So if you can see from this, for the firm itself, you need to calculate the value. So it's possible that you've done a valuation, maybe you've used DCF or you've used multiples approach, and then you've seen that, okay, the value of this firm should actually be higher. So in itself, you can get to that point with an analysis of the company in itself without even looking at the competitors. That's if you use a DCF. Many times when you use trading comparables or transaction comparables, you still need to look at your peers. That's when you use maybe an EV/EBITDA. Have you done valuation? Yes, so okay, sorry. What did you learn about valuation? Like, how do you value? Sorry, okay. I'm asking, okay, IB people, how do you value? Sorry?
Using the intrinsic method of valuation or relative.
Okay, so intrinsic, how do you do that? Okay, and for relative, how do you do that? So some of the multiples you can use for relative are, which I just said. So I see the IB people on fire, but it doesn't mean you cannot know it if you are doing S&T. Let me give you one scope. So the S&T people did not come to class yesterday. Talent man will not tell you if you are going to come, he will not tell you to sit down at home. That is for IB people alone. If you want to learn, come and learn. No knowledge is wasted. Do you understand? So now I'm asking, and some people can follow, some other people cannot follow. So it's probably because you are in a different stream. But I tell you for a fact, I can tell you for free. If I were an S&T guy that time, I probably come and attend because I need to know. So I never did trading, but I learned some trading. Can tell you about uptake. I don't want to even go there, please. So for your question, is it clear now? You can either look at it individually or the two of them work together. Any other person? Somebody raise his hand or hand. Okay, for the offside guy, somebody asked, how do we get earnings per share? I'm repeating it again because you are offside. Maybe you did not get it. Can they see? So earnings per share. Think about it intuitively. Earnings per share. Let's talk about earnings. The income statement is supposed to show your earnings or your profits or your revenue and expenses. So you start with the top line being revenue or sales, and you drill down to the bottom line of the income statement, which is the net income or profit after tax or net earnings, whatever it's called. But for the purpose of earnings per share, EPS, it refers to this bottom line, irrespective of what the term is. So intuitively, earnings per share, meaning you are saying earnings divided by share. So we've discussed the earnings part, which is the bottom line of the income statement. Then the per share is talking about these earnings, the earnings you have divided by the total number of shares outstanding, so that you can understand, or an investor can know what portion of the total earnings of the net earnings actually is attributable to him or his holdings in the shares. Yes, please. So it's financial lingo for saying the number of people that have invested in the shares. I don't want to confuse you. We can now start talking about share capital and then issued shares and shares out. But these shares outstanding, if you check what's it called? If you check online, maybe S&P, or you check Capital IQ or Bloomberg. Are you following, please? Yes. If you check Bloomberg, you see that they will show you the number of shares outstanding. So number of shares outstanding when you want to open a company, like when you want to create a company. Typically in Nigeria, the ultimate guy is SEC. The ultimate regulator is SEC. So before you open the company, you need to register with CAC, with SEC, register a lot of things. You need to register, and then they would approve a total number of shares for you. So that one that they approved is the shares you can issue. So that's what's the name? Sorry? Authorized, beautiful. Authorized, that's the authorized shares. That's the authorized shares. Now, issued shares is of the total authorized shares. How much have you issued? So for a company, if you have authorized shares of, say, 1 million, you do not need to issue all of them at the same time. You can do them in tranches. So if you say you've issued 700,000 of it, that 700,000 is your issued shares, and sometimes it can be called your shares outstanding, although there's a slight difference. And I know somebody will ask me now for the difference. So I think I'm not really clear about that difference, but I know they can be used interchangeably, but there's a slight difference. If I remember it, I'll tell you. Any other question? But is that clear for you? So it's just the number of shares that have been issued. Somebody raised his hand again. Or hand. Yeah, it was you, yes. What was your question? Okay, so somebody is saying, can you explain how credit and debit applies in the financial statements? Okay, oh, let me say it the way I know it. For investment banking, you do not really need credit and debit. Majority of what you need are all of this. So accountants need to understand debit and credit so that they can create these statements. Are we together? Investment bankers do not need to know all the granular debits and credits because you are not one ICANN certified somebody that would maybe go and sit down and be understanding debits and credits. Irrespective, debits and credits have been used to create each of these line items. All of them came about because of a debit or a credit, or sorry, a debit and a credit, because there would always be a double entry. So they all came about as a result of a debit and a credit, but not here for maybe individual ledger or journal accounts. Are we together? So if you break all of these down for accounting, to break them down, you see that before you get your revenue, maybe there are some other journal entries or some other ledger entries that you would have done debit and credit to get each of the revenue line items and cost line items. So debit and credit you would use to get to all of this. But going forward for investment banking, you would not really need to start thinking that what am I going to debit? It's not your work. It's an accountant's job. But then again, the last time we came, we did one mix, deal clip. So deal clip is perfect for you to understand the thing you need to know. Deal clip, which is, so you people should chorus it, please. My singing was not for, yes, please. Wait, let's start together. D is for E, A, L. L is for what? L is for what? My God, is that what I told you? L is for losses. I'm just kidding. So the clip side, C, the first C is for what? The other C is for? The other C is for? So the deal clip is deal DEAL, then double CLIP. So the first C is for? The second C is for? The third is for? The I is for? And the P is for? So for anything you need to know, deal clip, debit expenses, assets, and losses when they are increasing, and credit, capital, liabilities, income, and profits when they are increasing. If it's a case where they are decreasing, the reverse is the case. So all of that, like if you check that for the person that asked the question, is all you need to know for how you can use debit and credit. You don't need it for investment banking, but you need it for yourself to understand, because you cannot just do investment banking. You don't understand how they got this. Any other question? Are we okay? I'm surprised. No more questions. We're moving. So one popular question that was asked that would get asked is, how are these statements? How are they related? During my Bible interviews, I got asked the question. After my Bible interview, and I did interviews at United Capital for investment banking division. Again, they asked how are they related? The first thing for you to know is when you're an investment. Okay, well, let me start from before we go into this. If I tell you to choose, so all three statements. Yes, Samuel, thank you very much for this. Really appreciated. All three statements are equally important. They are very important for an investment banker to function. Are we clear about that? Yes. But if I told you that, okay, you have an opportunity to choose only one and make decisions based on that, which one would you choose? Who told you that? God bless lovely. God bless lovely. Why would you choose cash flow? God bless lovely. He's a great guy. Lovely is my guy. And he's the guy of some people in this class. Some people that did PDP last week. God will save them. God will save their souls. So, if you know, you know. Don't bother about what I'm saying. It's to one person in particular. So I was saying that cash flow is very important, because for an investor, cash is king. If you are a debt investor, okay, somebody said we should talk about equity and debt too, because apparently I should talk about that requiredly. I think it was Beatrice that told me that some people struggle with that question, equity versus debt. So if you are an investor, so if you are a debt investor, we are not beating around the bush. If you like, you should have profits, your net income of 10 billion, and then you have balance sheet. Your balance sheet is 100 billion. You now have cash flows of 10 million. If I borrow you money, how are you going to pay me the money? So now, even before you check net cash flows, operating cash flows are even more important. How do you plan to pay me this money from your operations? Therefore, this cash flow statement, if I see it alone, I'm not saying it's sufficient, but if I'm in a fix and I just need to look at one thing and then run from there, if I check your cash flows and I see that you are bleeding cash, I'm not borrowing you money. You cannot scope me. I'm not going to give you. I can say I'm dashing you the money because I like you and you're a fine babe and I want to invest in your ministry, but I'm not borrowing you money. Similarly, for an equity investor, at the end of the day, you get paid dividends, right? If the company is not making enough, if the company does not have enough cash, they cannot pay you dividends. Are we clear? If there's no cash, dividends, although to be clear, dividends can either be via cash or they can pay you dividends with more of equity. Is that clear? So a company can say, instead of paying cash for our dividends, we issue more equity for you. So if you had, say, 10 million shares outstanding before, they will give you an extra million. You now have 11 million in form of your dividend. Is that clear? But for like generally for cash dividends, if you don't have cash, you cannot pay dividends. So this alone is if you look at it individually, is important. So if you have these three, and you are asked that from which two, like if you have, so you say you have, there are the three major ones, and then I'm asking you that which of them can you do without? Not which of them can you do without. Can you use two? Which of them can you create from the other two? That one is simple. I've given you the explanation. You don't want to say it like that, but I said it. Which of these three can you create? Can you create most of, not all, most of the line items from the other two? People you're not answering me. So this way you'll be mumbling your interviews. And you now say, Stega, I thought you don't come and cover me. I'm not the one. Oh. So can I charge, please? Please, can you rule for us, boss? It's not. It's Charlie now. Thank you, boss. David. You slew Goliath, so slay this question, please. Who's David now? There's no David here. I'm offside. I lock you. Oh, you can answer? No, but that would take too much time. Can now say did not get the message. I will wait network. Josh. If you are here and you claim offside, if I catch you. Let's wheel again. Offside. We'll catch you now. So you've answered before now? No. Okay. Okay, why?
Because operating.
So what was the question?
Said which one can we get from
the other two? Okay.
Because on cash flow statement you have changes from operating activities.
Yes.
Information about operating activities can be included on the income statement. And information about financing and investing activities, part of it can be just from the balance sheet.
Bros, you're smart. Thank you very much. Is that clear, you people? People of God. Is anybody confused? What's your question? See this part. This is cash flow statement. Okay, let's hang that thing. I'll explain it, but let's hang it. Let's keep it first. So now for the three of them, they are related. If you start with the income statement, typically you start with your top line, revenue or sales, and then you do the necessary subtraction and additions, and you get to the bottom line, net profit. So, people of God, how can this net profit jump to any other account? Any other statement, rather? We are doing this together because you know it. It's because I've not said it that your head do not think about it. But in your church mind, you know it. But there's evil in your heart. That's why you could not think about it to answer that question. Please try. God bless you.
On the balance sheet, we retain earnings.
Okay. Beautiful. Any other person wants to try? Yes, please.
It also goes with cash flow statement.
How does it go there?
It flows into the operating aspect of the cash flow statement.
Just draw your ear and learn it today. This bottom line here, the profit after tax or whatever it is called, or net income, the first thing that you will do is that you transfer it to the cash flow as the starting line item. Sometimes instead of this, they can use profit before tax and they can use operating expenses. But the point is that your profits, like your profits from the income statement, first thing you will do is to transfer it to the cash flow. So your cash flow cannot come about if you've not calculated, if you've not done the income statement and gotten the necessary items from there. Is that clear? So that's one relationship is key. That's the first thing. That's the first step. After you've calculated your income statement, your profit after tax, it will be the starting item of your cash flow. Therefore, this is a prerequisite to you creating your cash flow. Now, your profit after tax, two things can happen to it. Can either declare everything as dividends, share the money. Share it. Let all of us collect our money and be happy. Or you can retain it and use it to build or grow your business. If it's the case where you retain it, it's going to come to the balance sheet under equity as retained earnings. God bless you, Samuel. You are good. You are good. So you finish the first class, have you? It doesn't matter. We know you're humble. You work out of humility. You dodge the first class part and then you answered you are still in school. It's okay. Continue. God is watching you. But you're like really good. Thank you very much. So that's another relationship. So I've shown you now one between income statement and cash flow, and then between income statement and balance sheet. Is that clear? Is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
Ask, yes, please.
Okay, so the P is now,
Yes.
if I have a payout ratio, for them to 40% for instance,
Yes, please.
and I pay out 40%,
Yes, please.
that 40% goes to the finance aspect of my, that as dividend,
Okay.
that finance aspect of my cash flow statement.
Yes.
The retained part goes to the balance sheet.
Yes.
And the entire PAT figure goes to like the top line item of my cash flow statement.
So that's correct. For clarity, I just asked that if you have a profit after tax here and payout ratio is 40%, payout ratio, otherwise known as dividend payout ratio, otherwise known as the portion of the total profit after tax that will be paid as dividends. Is that clear? So if we have profit after tax of 100 million and then we are paying 40% of that as dividends, it means that 40 million of that is going to go to the balance sheet, to the cash flow statement. 40 million will go to the cash flow statement under your financing cash flow. It's there. It's not just granular, but you go to your cash flow statement and you pay it out. It will be there because it's cash you've paid out. It's going to be reflected on the cash flow statement as an outflow. Is that clear? Then the other part is going to come to the balance sheet to increase your retained earnings. So remember that balance sheet will show you your financial position at a point in time. Are we clear? Is this clear? So as at 2016, you already had retained earnings of say 250 million. Now this year we had profit after tax of 100 million. We paid out 40 million of it. We are left with 60. So it's not that you now take that 60 to the balance sheet and put it there as your retained earnings. You add that 60 to the existing retained earnings. So before it was 250, you now add 60, then your new retained earnings figure would now be $310 million. Is that clear? Any questions? Any questions? Yes, please.
So, balance sheet shows the financial aspect of the company at a particular time.
At a point in time.
Why are you considering it should be over a period?
Yes, please. Any other question? Can we move on? Are we sure? So if you come and check now, look at this balance sheet. If you break down this cash flow statement, say operating profit or profit before tax or profit after tax, depending on which one you start with. So who has a charger, please? Like USB charger. To be the greatest, one of the greatest, my greatest guys in this class. So just giving me plenty information in the interview. Àkókò tó dín láì dìbò ẹ̀ ti wọlé. I love all of you. When I say it's only Toby. So if you break this down, the operating profit, the next item there is your changes in working capital. Let's read. Okay, you have a question. Okay.
What is the issue? Notice that that statement, for instance,
Yes, please.
starts with PBT.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no real rationale. You can decide to start with either the profit after tax or profit before tax or operating profit. It's just that depending on which one you start with, there will be minor, what's the word to use, adjustments to get, but it's not going to change anything. So anybody that starts with profit before tax, if you sit down on your own and then you replace that profit before tax with profit after tax and then you adjust it, you still get the same answer. It's very clear. It just depends. So people have different preferences. Different accountants have different preferences. But because according to the rules, it's not explicitly stated that you must start with profit after tax. It's flexible. You can, but you have auditors that would audit your statement. So if there's if it is clear that you've gone contrary to the accounting policies, they'll flag it.
So the guys that starts with PAT.
Okay.
I'll clarify. They add back tax.
So if you start with PAT, you need to understand that not all tax is paid. So not all of this tax on the income statement is paid. With the last class we talked about income statement and tax statements. So not all of them is paid. So the parts, if you are not calculating, you start with PAT. The part that you've paid. That one is an outflow of cash. But the part that you've not paid, you would need to add it back. Do you understand? Are you clear? Because it's not all the tax that you pay. So for some companies, they will tell you that all the income tax was paid. That one is a clear case of it being a cash item. But it's just minor adjustments. Trust me, you get the same answer. Are you an accountant?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking. Yes, I've seen it too. It's different. Was there another question? Okay, so I was going to say that I was going to ask to Will. We have a question, please. If there's a what? If there's a share buyback. So if there's a share buyback, inevitably you start from a point, and that point is you've already issued shares in the past. So if in the past you've issued shares of 100 million, and if you check the balance sheet, your share capital, this is the figure here. Are we clear? If there's a share buyback, it means that you are buying. Sorry.
Now
Sorry? A pause, okay. Okay, 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 okay. Yes, boss. People can gist. Enjoy yourself. Really, are you falling? Are you sure?
Sincerely, I'm not really getting the class because like I didn't do accounting at
Okay.
all. So like it's really advanced for me. What I can remember from like secondary school is basic accounting. So like all these people after tax. Like I'm not getting it.
When in the first lab.
Yes, I was not getting it too, but I tried to read it. But still I don't know. And I'm not even seeing it properly from there.
Do you see that guy still in the corner there? In the corner there, extreme corner at the back. You talk to him. Tell that someone that real friend. Why not? I would teach you, but the truth is I will not have the time. So I know some people here that are good. So if they explain it for you, it's easy, piece of cake. Because you do not need to know the accounting plenty, but you just need to understand how they flow. I did not study accounting, I studied economics. And we did a CCT, is it in like this school? So I did one accounting course here, so I did not like it, I hated it, I ran away from it. So I did not really understand accounting until I came to talent my class and I had to learn it. So let me speak to him. Sorry. Boss, well done, sir. Are you alright? So I noticed something was off. Nice shades. So I wanted to say that please, if you have any time, maybe any spare time, you can help. What's your name, please? Divine Favor. So apparently she did not study accounting and she has maybe some issues with some of these line items. I know like a boss that you are and like a good man that you are, you can use the divine favor of God. So just explain one or two things. Do you understand? If it's something you think you can do it, he's a great guy. He knows this thing more than me. He can teach the class. I tell you, he can teach the class. So I'm sure. So just anytime, collect his number and he's a fine boy too. Odoma. Shame, what's up? Sorry, yesterday After I sent that thing, I slept, and today I'm a talent man already. What can I do now? It's the love of my heart. What's happening now? Oh no, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. Oh, so that's why you were calling me since. I thought there was something upset when I saw your call again today. No, I thought some other thing was up. No, it's not that deep. It's a normal thing I can do now. And you already said it on WhatsApp, and then I saw your missed calls yesterday. I figured maybe it was a talent, it was a thank you something. Oh no, it was late. Like I saw it this morning, and I woke up late. I got here late. I've now turned to a late comer. Shame my life. If you had said what? That what? I did not kill you now. Did I complain last week? Me that I had gotten there and I came back to come and give you your makeup kit. Yes, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Well, yeah. Is that Noah that is screaming there? Sorry? It should be bigger than that by now. No, Walasha. We'll talk later. Yes. Okay, yes, boss. So shall we continue, please? One house. Okay, let's do this. Our outside people are back online. Okay. Any questions so far? So we're going to explain some more relationships. Now between, sorry? Oh, so that's where we were, true. So if you're at this point, you already issued shares, yeah? And then because you've issued shares in the past, your equity or your under equity, your share capital is at say $100 million. In a case of a share buyback, it means me, the company, I'm saying, understand that for equity in the first place, I've issued equity because I've issued that equity and shares because I want to collect money from equity investors to use in the operations of my business. Is that clear? So if there's a case of a share buyback, I'm now proud. I've gotten plenty money. I don't need plenty money like that again. I'm saying you can take take your money, give me my shares back. So the immediate effect is that when you do a share buyback, the number of the share capital will reduce. Are we together?
Yes.
You are giving them back their money and you are collecting your shares back. So that shares you're giving them, those shares you're giving them for that were up to, that made it get up to 100 million, probably reduced to like, say, 80 million. And then because you've given them money, it's a cash outflow. There's going to be an outflow of cash from which of them? From financing activities. That's if we are flowing together. Yes, please.
You said something the other time that you can either pay dividend using cash
Yes.
or by equity.
Yes, please.
So if you pay dividend by equity,
Yes, please.
what happens to the outstanding share outstanding?
So
Is it
if
going to increase the number?
it's
or-
going to increase the number
But it
inevitably.
will affect the EPS now.
Oh no, so that's why I told you that in a case where for diluted EPS, I told you there's basic EPS and diluted EPS. The diluted EPS, one of the things that could affect it is maybe an option or a warrant. And one of the other things that could affect it is when you pay, when there's this thing called stock split. So that can be an example of a stock split. So in a case where you are paying dividends via shares, that's going to split the stock. So
Like the firm is cheating on the
no, it's not a cheat. Why do you think it's cheating?
because the value of the share will
Yes.
reduce
Okay,
to do a stock split.
okay.
So you're paying me, it's like you're not paying, I have a share,
Okay.
you're not splitting my share into like four to
Okay.
pay me my dividends.
So you need to understand this here. If you had, so the way it is maybe you can say we are doing a 2-for-1 or stock. Maybe let me not use the word stock split. Let me use the word stock dividend. Maybe that's what is confusing you. So we are saying that for everybody that has, for every one dividend, one ordinary share you have, we are giving you 10%, extra 10% as shares. So if you had say you had 10 million shares before, your new number of shares will now be 11 million. That's 10 times 1.1 or 10 times 110%. So it's not exactly a stock split the way I'm looking at it. You have a question, please?
Sorry, what you saying that it's same and right issue?
So right issues is different. Right issues is a case where a company wants to raise capital, they want to raise extra capital, but instead of going to the market to issue more shares or to sell more shares, they are giving the existing shareholders an opportunity to come and buy more of the shares. Remember that authorized capital and issued capital are different. So there's the margin that has been authorized but has not yet been issued. So the company is now saying, before we go and sell these shares to the public, existing shareholders, if you are interested, come and buy these shares now. So that's the idea of the right issue.
Okay, where I'm driving at with using shares to pay dividends.
Yes, please.
If you want to pay me dividend using shares,
Okay.
then it means that my interest percentage in the company should increase.
That's okay.
So, but if you're increasing the number of shares for everyone to pay them dividend, there's likelihood that the percentage I'm owning in the company will still remain the same because you are increasing for every other person too.
So it depends. It can either increase or decrease or remain stagnant. And that's why when you are calculating it, for you need to calculate diluted EPS, know where you stand. So as an individual investor, sometimes the company will do something that does not favor you, but you are part of the company. If you are annoyed or if you no longer agree with the company, you can sell your shares and move out. But and exit your position. In this case, what's going to happen is that they would issue like, so for if you had 100 million shares before, they now say they are issuing like extra 10% as stock. So for every one share, you are getting 10% of that. So for you, your number of shares outstanding is going to increase. And if you remember the calculation for EPS is net income divided by number of shares outstanding. Understand that actually EPS is net income minus pref dividend over number of shares outstanding. I'm just making it simple. That's why I'm saying net income divided by number of shares outstanding. So in this case, number of shares outstanding is going to reduce. So it's going to increase because we've done a share dividend scenario. And I must say categorically that share dividend is one of the things that would always lead to dilution of shares. It always lead to dilution of EPS rather. So some of them, I told you that they can be dilutive or anti-dilutive. And when you are calculating diluted EPS, there is usually a need to test for that, to test is it dilutive or not. Remember I told you that diluted EPS cannot be greater than the basic EPS. Remember that. So whenever you want to calculate diluted EPS, there's usually a need to first calculate for the particular option or warrant or share dividend you're looking at. Is it going to dilute the EPS, or is it going to be is it going to have an anti-dilutive effect? So is it going to reduce the EPS from basic, or is it going to increase it? If it's a case where it's going to increase it, I said you are not going to make use of that calculation. You will leave your diluted EPS as equal to your basic EPS because that particular option you're looking at is anti-dilutive. Is that clear? So, but in this case now, for a share dividend, because it's only going to increase the number of shares outstanding and not going to affect the numerator, which is your earnings or your net income, it is always going to be dilutive, and it will lead to a dilutive EPS, an EPS that is a lower value than the basic EPS. Do you understand? But then again, you are going to have more shares, so when you calculate it times the new EPS, you are probably better off. I'm not saying you would always be better off, but you are probably better off. Is that clear? I know some people did not follow. Ask your question now. Ask your questions now. Okay, so we all understand. Okay. I'm here now, you're not asking me. It's when I'm watching Croatia versus France, you call me. I'll not pick your call. So I was going to explain between balance sheets, relations between balance sheets and cash flow. It's simple. Again, it's very simple. One house, please. One house. Can we pay attention, please? It's very simple. So for the cash flow statement, our dear brother Samuel has done this superb job for us. For this part, plus or minus changes in working capital, you can break it out. What is working capital? Who told you that one again? I heard lovely. Oh, it was me. I'm blushing. So changes in working capital, current assets minus current liabilities. Some of the current assets, elements of, like some of the current assets we can have are what? Inventories, cash, repayments. So all of those things, you know them. They are what you have here. So another relationship between the balance sheet and the cash flow is that on the balance sheet, see current asset, trade receivables. Remember we said something the last time I was here, that when you are calculating the cash flow statement, if your assets has increased, if there has been an increase in assets, what has happened to cash flow? Edakun, say something and stick to it. If your assets have increased, what has happened to cash flow? What has happened to cash flow? If you believe it's decreased, do like this. Sorry, if you believe it's increased, do like this. You are following the crowd. If you don't know it, ask me now. So if your assets have increased, there has been a cash outflow. If your assets have reduced, what has happened to cash outflow? Cash flow. Cash flow has increased. Are we together? The opposite for liabilities. If there has been an increase in liabilities, what has happened to cash flow? Sorry? Increase. And if there are, I'm just saying increase. I don't trust this class. People are playing with my head. So if there has been a decrease in liabilities, what has happened? Oh yeah, wait. Let's do this like this. Say up or down. I don't want to hear that increases. So if there has been if liabilities has gone down, what has happened to cash flow? Okay. So in this case now, for the operating working capital, which will be all of this, if trade receivables has increased, what's going to happen here? If you are cramming, you are cramming. See, trade receivables, it has given you exposed an asset. If it has increased, what has happened to cash flow? Okay. So it's going to affect the cash flow statement. So that's another way. That's why I was saying that if you have only two, and you can, if you have only two, you can use two to create most part of this cash, not all, but most part of it. So that's for changes in working capital. And then changes from financing. Sorry, it shouldn't be financing. Where's investing? Okay, investing. So it's typically operating, then investing, then financing. But we're still online. Samuel is a great guy. He knows everything. So from investing, if you have net changes from investing activities, I drew one thingy for you that day. Changes in investing activities will come from where? What part of the balance sheet will translate to investing activities? Sorry? Raise your hand and speak. Don't follow this. Answer your name. No. Equity. Equity. Investing. Equity. No. Long-term assets. Do like this and answer. I told you with this thing last time I was here. Oh. Don't answer. No, you know it. Yes, please. No. So you are close, but you are not there. You have an idea. You said an increase in the amount of assets you buy now. Purchase assets. But then, any other answer? Sorry? Yes. True, but we are still not there. Non-current assets, because all of these are assets, and when they change, they are not coming to investing, they are going to operating. So your non-current assets and your non-current liabilities, they are the ones that would affect your investing activity. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the other one is changes in financing activity, which is what you said. So if there are changes in the equity, it's evidently going to come here because it's financing. Sorry, non-current assets would flow to investing. Non-current liabilities are coming to financing. Non-current liabilities and equities are coming to finance. So when they change, if there has been an increase in long-term debt, it's coming to financing. If you've paid part of the principal of a long-term debt, it's coming to financing activity. If it's a case where you issued a bond at par, so if you issued a bond at premium or at discount, and then the premium or discount is amortized, you'd see the difference here. Have you put this discuss like debt, bonds and stuff? Try to learn it. I don't know who will teach you that part, but it's really interesting. That's one interesting part of the course. And you can go and learn it on your own. So is there any question so far? Any question? Yes, please.
So financing activities.
Yes.
Are from current and non-current liability and equity.
Yes.
Then investing activities, basically the non-current assets.
Beautiful.
Then the operating activities from the income statement, that's the SGN, is selling, general and operating.
So operating activities, they're from your bottom line in addition to your changes in working capital. Do you understand?
So we have working capital, changes in working capital, and also changes in operating activities.
So changes in operating activities, net changes in operating activities that are not cash flow based. Like remember we add back depreciation and amortization, so they would flow into there. So it depends on any operating activity that you put on this place that is not a cash, that did not equate to a cash inflow outflow. You would adjust for it there. So it's not just only depreciation and amortization. Yes, please. Okay, so in the case, when you are calculating when you are drawing up the income statement, you start from your revenue or sales. you get 100 million. Your cost of goods sold, maybe they were 50 million. You put it here. Your gross profit is therefore 50 million. You now come and calculate. Oh, wow. So for this part, this financing charges or so financing charges are typically interest. Listen carefully. This part should come after SG and A. Do you understand? Somebody did a great job. I'm just emphasizing that. So you have revenue or sales less COGS, and then you get your gross profit. Then you less your S, G, and A, and you get operating profit. You less interest expenses, and you add, say, interest income. These two, they are usually called financing charges, depending on how the income statement is created. Then you get your profit before tax, then you less your taxes, and then you get your profit after tax, or your bottom line. So I was explaining that for this part here, net changes from operating activities. Operating activities. Is there that word? Is it similar to anything here? For that operating activities, is it similar to any of these line items? Let's answer now. No time, please. Which one is it similar to? Operating activities. So it seems to me that there's operating profit here. So that's the most similar thing to operating activities. Is that clear? Do you agree? Yes. Maybe I'm speaking Greek. Let's know now. So if you are going to get your operating profit, you need to add or subtract some of your operating activities, or some of the financial or the numbers from your operating activities. Is that clear? So in this case, to calculate your SG and A, depreciation and amortization is already a part of these operating activities. Are we together? Yes. But you know, if this is talent mines building, and is worth 10 billion, and we've done depreciation this year, say on a straight line basis of 10% per annum, no scrap value. Therefore, 1 billion of the 10 billion has been depreciated from the total value. We're left with 9 billion. Are we following? Yes. Do you agree? Are you sure? But that 1 billion we did it in-house now. We not carry the 1 billion and we not go and give it to federal government that depreciation of talent mines building, take your 1 billion. The money is still with us. Do you understand? So it's not a cash flow. We therefore need to account for that here, because this one is showing us a statement according to cash flows. So already we started from this part, say profit after tax. Imagine it was profit after tax that was here. Just forget this one. If this was profit after tax, if this is profit after tax, but to calculate profit after tax, you've already deducted SG and A before. You've already deducted depreciation and amortization. But that cash did not go anywhere. The cash is still with us. So those non-cash deductions you've made, there's a need to add them back so that we know the true position of our cash. Is that clear? Do you understand? Are you sure? Do you want me to go over it again? Okay. Any other question? Is there any other question? Yes, please. So you add or subtract working capital because working capital comes from current assets and current liabilities. And your name is what, sir?
Victor.
Sir? Victor. So Victor, only Victor, please. Working capital is coming from current assets and current liabilities. If current assets increase, what would you do to that part? If current assets increase, what would happen to this line item? It will decrease. That's the add part. So that's the subtract part. If current liabilities increase, what will happen to this part? So that's the add part. So you can either add or decrease depending on any other question. Sorry, bro, can I project something? Ouch. Ouch. My assistant does not have this pot. Okay. Yeah. No, like 5 minutes, yes. Well, you send it to her. Yes.
Okay.
So that debt versus equity part, I said I was going to discuss it. It's simple. You are an investor, you are a company. I think it was Toby Solomon Fittings or something. What was it? Fit by Toby Solomon, yeah. Fit by Toby Solomon. You are a company. Which is more expensive for you, debt capital or equity capital? I'm not asking only Toby, I'm asking the class. If you know, just very fast, we're done. If you are a company, Toby Solomon, you have a choice of either issuing equity capital or debt capital. Which is more expensive for you? Which is more costly for you? Which one would you prefer to not do? Yes, please.
Debt. Sorry, equity is more expensive.
Okay, so elaborate.
Yeah, so this is how it works.
Just be telling them, tell them. Sorry, Beatrice. Please. Do you have like flash drive? I can use to transfer it. Okay. Okay, listen. Very fast, very easy. Equity capital is more expensive than debt capital. Learn it now. So because you are not aware, you might think that for debt capital, because you are paying interest, and trust me, I'm telling you this thing for a fact. In 2015, when I was seated here, I argued that thing. So Femi asked us, and I told him no, debt capital is more expensive. There's no way you tell me equity is more expensive. But that was my understanding at that point in time. It's simple. Debt capital, when you issue debt, you're not issuing debt till ad infinitum. You're issuing debt for maybe 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. The interest you pay is fixed. You've already calculated that you're going to be paying 10% per annum or 20% per annum for 20 years. Shikena. Equity capital, the day you make the mistake of issuing equity to me, my great grandchildren, after I'm long dead, 200 years, they'll still be collecting your money. They'll collect your money for life. For life. So forget it. It's not a case of either or. It's not a case of in some cases. It's never ever. Equity capital is always more expensive. And there's another thing you need to understand. That's called the leverage ability. So investors they almost always prefer to issue debt capital than equity capital, because debt capital has leverage ability. The leverage ability is explained thus. It's my company. Instead of me saying, Toby, come and invest 10 million in my company as equity, we will now share the profits in the long run. And I said, no, Toby, borrow me 10 million. I'll be paying you 10% or 20% of the 10 million. Toby has borrowed me. It's his money, but I'm using it. And I'll leverage on that money and create, say, extra 1 billion. but I'm still going to be paying Toby, say 10% on the 10 million. Who is gaining? I'm gaining. So you are always wiser to issue debt than issue equity, because for you, debt, you are just going to pay. You're going to. So my argument that time was that if it's a case where the company is going to run down at some point, it's better to equity. I forgot one funny argument I argued, but forget that. It's always better to issue debt, and then debt also has a leverage. I did not see this connection. I was wondering. Debt is always better again, because when you issue debt, very simple. There's this part here. There's this part here, tax. When you issue debt, if you borrow money from somebody, are we together? If you borrow money from somebody, you are going to pay interest. Therefore, the amount you pay as tax, as a portion of your total revenues, would be less 100% of the time. So debt is usually considered to be called, like, I think a tax haven is the word, or a tax, sorry? It's tax deductible, because when you issue debt, it's a way for you to escape from paying more tax, because if it's equity, you're always going to pay tax on your equity, and irrespective. But for if it is debt, you are going to deduct interest from there, and you are going to have to pay less. Is there any other one here I wanted to project? So all of the things I explained in the class, the relationship between all of them. Sorry, can we see this?
No.
Please. Oh, it's the board that is the problem. I'll send it to the class. But it's very clear. It's the same thing we talked about, that your statement of your income statement, the bottom line is your net income. And then it's going where? It's going to retained earnings. We said that, yeah? Did we say that?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
From your statement of cash, no. From your net changes in owner's equity. Okay, we didn't even say this part. But when it changes, so this statement we did not discuss this statement. It's not part of the three major ones we discussed. Do we agree? Do you agree?
Yes.
But there's also relations. But since we did not talk about that, and it's important, but you can do without it. Forget that part. This your total changes in shareholders' equities and liabilities on the balance sheet is also going to flow into the cash flow. We agreed. We discussed that here. Are we together? You are not sounding sure.
Yes.
The last part I forgot to add was your cash flow. At the end of the day, I said this in the last class though, that the bottom line of your cash flow statement, you take it back to the balance sheet as cash for that year. I said this in the last class. Do you remember? So that's the last relationship. So I just wanted to put this across. You can play with it later and see that it's fleshed to all of the wordings I said in this class. And I wanted to show you a financial statement. Yes, please. So for a cash flow statement. Sorry, bro. This cash, when you do for the cash flow statement, you calculate, you get your changes in cash position for the year, add or subtract. So either add to or subtract from your opening cash balance, and then you get your new cash position. Whatever you get there, you are going to bring it to the balance sheet under current assets as cash. You are going to bring it here. So that's another relationship. So at the end of all of this, you are going to bring it back, whatever you get from there. So apart from the fact that from the operating working capital, when they change, they will flow into this changes in operating activities. Apart from that fact, at the end of the day, when you are done calculating your cash flow, that ending cash figure would need to be brought back to cash. And when you are doing financial modeling and valuations, you see that all of them, they tie together, because You're always going to be changing stuff from one sheet to another. So I wanted to show you an example of a financial statement. All of you have seen this, but just in case. We spoke about plenty. Can you see it? Yes.
Is it just the profit and after that
So we discussed that your profit is going to come to cash flow, right? We discussed that your profit retained earnings will come to balance sheet. That's another relationship. We also discussed that your changes in operating activity from your SG&A, depreciation and amortization that were not cash flow, they were not cash outflows. You need to bring them back too. So there are a lot of them. Go through what we said in this class. We said quite a few. Any other question? So I wanted to show you. Is it from here? Okay. Oh, from here. Yes, please.
Yeah, someone is asking now that it doesn't know how goodwill applies to valuation of the company.
So we discussed this in the last class, and I explained that goodwill, you do not value goodwill internally. Goodwill cannot, and will never be valued internally by a firm. If you generate goodwill internally, you cannot put it on the balance sheet as goodwill. Do you remember me saying that? Yes. The only way you would see goodwill on a balance sheet is in a case where that company has been in a transaction, it has either been bought or has bought another company. If it's in a case where company A buys company B, but the value of company A buys B, and B is actually worth say 450 million, but company A decides to pay up to 510 million for company B, the extra 60 million can be seen to be a margin or goodwill that company A deems company B to have. Then and only then can you put goodwill on the balance sheet. If it is internally generated, it's not going to be on the balance sheet. So for company A, you must have purchased another company before you can see goodwill on the balance sheet. Yes, please.
I don't know, I think it's lost already. Then how can we calculate the shareholders' total dividends at the end of the year?
Calculate a shareholder's total dividends.
At the end of the year.
So I think it's pretty straightforward. So the shareholder can either be a common shareholder or a preference shareholder. If it's a common shareholder, it's simple. EPS, earnings per share, multiplied by the number of shares for that particular investor, it will give you the total. Sorry, dividends, you said. So you just calculate the dividend payout ratio multiplied by the total or bottom line, the net profit. Are we together? So he asks an important question. How do you calculate total dividends for an investor, a particular investor? If it's a case where we made 100 million and your dividend payout ratio is 40%, meaning that we are going to pay out dividends of 40 million. That 40 million is divided by the total number of shares outstanding. For the investor, if he has, say, 10% of the total shares, total outstanding shares, is therefore going to get 10% of the 40 million as his own particular dividends. That's for a common shareholder. If you are a preference shareholder, your dividend you are going to get is set ab initio from the beginning. If you are a preference shareholder, your dividend is set. So preference share is also similar to debt. It's a similar instrument to debt, because like debt, you are going to, if I issue debt, you are going to pay interest, right? And your interest is fixed, right? Are we together? Yes. So similar to that, for a preference shareholder, if I'm issuing pref dividends to you, I'm going to tell you, we are going to agree up front that for this pref stock or this pref shares, at the end of each year, I'm going to be paying you, say, 10% or 20%. So that one is even easier. It's very easy for that one. Just calculate it for that. Yes, please.
Are we going to deduct our preference share dividend before applying the payout ratio, or it is after applying the payout ratio we deduct it?
I don't understand.
We have the net income now.
Okay.
Said the net income
Okay, so
is
I think you deduct first because those preference shareholders, you are going to pay them irrespective. So before you, if you look through the hierarchy of claims, if you look through the hierarchy of claims for a company, any company anywhere, the people like if the company liquidates or gets to a bankruptcy position, first point of call, he must pay off his debt instruments. People that have borrowed it money, you must pay them. So you need to pay off your debt first. And that's why they say, okay, you need to pay off your debt. And then if you have pref shares, that's why you get pref shares. You now pay your pref shares next. Pref shareholders. Before you get to common shareholders. And this is the reason why it is usually said that equity in a business is residual interest. The residue, the remnant, is what you get in the case of liquidation. So I think for that question, you first deduct before you calculate for them. Yes, you know before you calculate EPS in the first instance. So this is the true EPS calculation. Is net income minus pref dividends all over 1/NOS. 1/NOS being weighted average number of shares outstanding. Now there's another calculation to 1/NOS. So an example of how 1/NOS can change is what we discussed if we do a share dividend payment structure. It will change 1/NOS. It's not going to change the top line. It's not going to change the numerator. Do you understand? So all of this, there are more calculation to it. But again, like I told you at the beginning of the class, you cannot get everything from here because if you want to do this thing, this is the only thing you learn for the day. And you have a lot of things to learn. Are we together? So the onus is on you to build on whatever you've learned in class. If you have any question, let me write my number very clear. If you have any question, please send me a message. It's my WhatsApp number or call me. If you have any question, if you are trying to play around with this on your own and you run into any snag, call me or send me. If I do not reply immediately, I'll reply eventually. If I cannot pick, it's because I cannot pick. I'll probably call you back. But call me. One thing, don't forget what I said. Though, if you are going to do this thing, you need to put in your best. So I'll just show you the. So any other question you have, just keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear again. I've spent more of my time. 156. Oh shit. 156. If you see stuff like this before, good for you. If you've not, just in case you've not, let it be. Don't let it be said that you did not see it in Talent Mind. Just like all the things we've said here, revenue. So in this case, for this company, this is Dangote Cement. They're not just showing you their revenue or sales. They're also breaking it down, showing you what it costs to provide those sales. So this is the COGS I always put. Do you understand? And then you get your gross profit. Remember, we always say selling, general and administrative expenses. These are where they come in. So the terms can change, but this is where they come in. And then you see your finance income and finance cost, otherwise known as interest income, interest expense. You deduct them first. You see share of profit from associate. An associate is like a company and a related company to yours, but not your company particularly. There's more to it, but we're rushing. Profit before tax, you see your income tax expense, you deduct it to get profit for the year. Then profit for the year attributable to owners of the company and non-controlling interest. We discussed non-controlling interest the last time I was here. We're not going to talk about it. Earnings per share, basic and diluted. We've spoken about EPS, basic and diluted today. Do you agree? Balance sheets, like we said, assets. Start with non-current assets. See them broken down. PPE, intangible assets. There are plenty. Put all of them. Then your total non-current assets. So these are, yes, assets. Your non-current, you get the total. Your current, you get the total. Then you add total non-current and total current to get your total assets. Are we together? Sorry, let me finish. Then you ask. Then for your liabilities, you get your current liabilities, non-current liabilities. You add the two and you get your total liabilities. Then if you go to the next page, or if you go down, you see equity part. So this equity, at the end of the day, your total assets, this 1.665, I don't know if it's million or billion, must always be equal to your equity and liabilities. Remember we said at the beginning, fundamental accounting equation, assets is equal to what? Assets is equal to what? And this is proof. See total assets here, see total equity and liabilities. If it does not balance, something is wrong somewhere. Cash flow statement. This is the cash flow from operating activities. You can see they start with profit before tax. I told you you can tweak. See, adjustments for depreciation and amortization. Have we discussed that? You see, so there are a lot of things you would see there, but the idea is the same. All of these are either coming from the operating activities of the business, from the operations, that part of the income statement that is before operating profit, or they are coming from changes in operating working capital. See all the changes in operating working capital here. Then you get your cash flows from investing activities, interest received, acquisition, and You get your cash flows from financing activities. And at the end of the day, see, you get your cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year. Can we see this, please? What is this figure here? 161,755. Let's go back to the balance sheet. One 168,387. These ones, they are funny. It's me they want to come and cover. I wanted to show you the way they relate, but they want to come and expose me. And they cannot expose me. so you think it's very simple. They have notes, like you can see their notes there. So if you go to the notes, is that time? Can we do it? Okay, if you go to the notes, you see how there will be some slight differences that they've explained in the notes. But trust me, the ending, forget this Dangote. They cannot come and expose me. It's not me they will expose. So thank you. Okay, you wanted to ask a question. What was that? Oh, sure. This one I downloaded it for. It's a public something. I just wanted to show you proof of what we say. So thank you very much for your time. I love you all. I love you very much.